Now recording. All right, the words that I like to hear. All right, good evening or morning, probably for most of you. This is Mike and Dan. We're going to do a little pod here for everybody. First thing we're going to talk about is first round of the draft. Kind of go through that, and then the draft in general, kind of thoughts, expectations, how those expectations are quickly thrown out the window as they almost always are in any draft. And then we'll kind of see where the conversation evolves from there. So, Dan, any opening thoughts?
Uh, I'm just glad I wasn't in this draft.
I'm not going to necessarily completely disagree with that statement, but I was out and then went back in again, and now time will tell if I made the right decision on either of those things. So
It was just nice not having to scout for it, seeing as we had the scout for TCM last night. So it was
well,
nice not to scout for two drafts and to get what I hope to be or what looks to be an ace for getting out of it.
yeah. Well, listen, that's why I decided to do the smart thing and went FCM or die, and traded all my picks last night in TCM for a must needed help, and then made my one pick, and I was out. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I did very well over there. I'm not sure if I did very well over here, but again, time will tell. All right, so let's start right here at the top of the draft as somebody joins us, and his name, no surprise there. All right, what did you think about Rex Menard?
I liked him. I liked him right off the bat. I mean, he obviously looks like he's going to have monster fucking vitals. The only thing I saw that scared me a little bit, which isn't, I mean, doesn't seem that big a deal. He's not, his like fastball isn't that far off, was the fact that he had many like pitches over his peak. But for the most part, I mean, as long as his, 77 health, that shouldn't even be an issue. But I mean, he looks like a fucking god.
Yeah, yeah, I think there's a lot. I think this was the obvious. I don't want to say the obvious pick because there's definitely a couple of bats or defenders or speedy guys, whatever way you want to look at them, that you easily could have picked here and still been okay with.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in a league where pitching is extremely important, I think this definitely is the guy that you kind of have to take at the top, especially when you're a team rebuilding and really in the need for that pitching guy. Not that Kansas City is in the need; they have a couple of guys that drafted last year that I think are going to turn out quite well as well. Um, but I mean, this guy especially, and he has that build that everybody looks for. I mean, he's not going to have that. I don't. He's not going to have that ace build. Let's just get that up there right now. He's not going to have that 90, high 80, 90 build or anything in between, anything around there that you really want to see an ace build. But he's going to have that. People are going to argue with me about this all they want, but maybe that other ace build, that high control, high movement, that typical FCM build that everybody really wants to see. And I think that you're right. The pitches is one thing, but they're close enough. I don't think they're going to play too much of a factor. And look at his amateur stats, which I know a lot of people don't do, but I do, and they're wonderful. Doesn't seem to have a home run problem. Good strikeout to walk ratio, very low OBA and low ERA and dice. Like he looks like a complete package and a guy that if you miss with him at number one, then you've been moguled pretty damn hard.
Yeah, and I don't. I'm with you. I don't know if he'll be like. I don't know if he'll be your ace of your staff. Depending on who your other guys are, obviously. But he's definitely he's definitely a 1 or a 2 on most teams. I don't know. It depends. I mean, he is 21. That kind of scared me off at first when I first looked when I did my like skim of the draft. But I mean, he's also a guy that could end up with like close to 100 movement and low 90s control too if he gets the right jumps.
Right.
And I don't know. You must be a little different than me, but I think the control movement is the ace build in here. I've tried the power movement. Doesn't work out good for me. At least for me, maybe it's my ballpark, maybe it's the way my ballpark's built, but I'm all control movement guy, especially after my last rebuild went to shit because that's all I went after was movement power guys.
Yeah, I'm not saying I don't like the build. Obviously, I think that's the preferred build. But like so, a lot of the aces you see out there have the 3 heavy vitals, and his power is just not going to be there. He's going to be not a power pitcher, which is fine. There's nothing against it.
No, but also with this build, I guess the preface of this build is you better have a strong middle infield defense.
Well, this is an Andy team. He took care of that in the last 3 drafts. So
yeah, Yeah, but if you build your infield for like, guys that can, what second baseman and shortstops that can hit home runs but have 80 range, you're screwed with this build.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's if you look at Andy's defense in his minor league, what he's been
Oh
building the
yeah,
last couple of seasons there, like you're just like, well, fuck. Time to
yeah,
move
his
to the
defense
NL.
is always awesome.
Yeah. All right, Werner Crumley, one of my favorite names in the draft. I'm not going to lie, and a guy that is my favorite. I think offensive side of the ball guy. I really liked this guy. SXR and I were talking before the draft, a couple days before the draft, maybe even a week before the draft. And he was saying, who if you were me too, who would you go? And I said Crumley right away. Like there was no doubt in my mind that he would be the guy that I would take too. And depending if you wanted a pitcher or not, he'd be the guy I'd argue to take number one. I really like him. Scott, you look at his speed and you're like, oh, he's not that speedy. It's an 86. But then you look at his base running and it's just very good. Defense
Yeah,
should be very good. And he's going to have a nice bat with a real high eye. So he's going to get those walks. He's going to get on base. Like he's a guy that you want to absolutely throw onto your team and just watch him develop.
he's your number one if you already have a good stable of starting pitching from rebuilding. Like,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? Him or Menard could have went number one, either or, because as far as second baseman go, yeah, look, he has a 71 fielding, but it doesn't really come through in his stats per se so much. But he's your franchise second baseman guy that you're going to build off of. Now he's not a power guy, but your second baseman shouldn't be a power guy. I mean, if you're going baseball, second baseman typically, unless we're talking steroid era, aren't power guys. But he has the eye. He has decent contact. It's a little bit below his overall, but I mean, it shouldn't be all that bad. He has great speed. Like you said, his base running is fucking phenomenal. He's probably a one, depending on how his contact comes around, he's a one or, top of the lead off or number two guy, because he's going to score just a shit ton of runs for you if you have a good bat behind him. I mean, this dude just going to cross the plate all season long without a doubt.
Absolutely. I put him at second base. I put him in the one hole, and I just watch it happen.
Yep. Yeah, because his eye is going to jump good too. So even if he's not, even if he's a 270, 280 hitter, he's still going to get on. He's still going to have a on base like 350 probably.
Oh, he's going to walk a ton.
Yeah,
and that's just going to and then he's going to steal second. Yeah, and then he's going to steal second, and it's just it's like a double off a 4-pitch pass. It's going to be amazing. So I'm really high on him. So next guy, another guy that's pretty speedy, Jose Sosa. Shortstop went to San Diego. Now, again, one of the things that SXR and I talked about before, and he's like, well, what about Sosa? I'm like, listen, dude's pretty good, but Crumley has better defense. You could put Crumley at short. He's going to play short a hell of a lot better than this guy. And on top of that, his base running is just as good, if not better.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. His he's the typical mogul righty hitter, 73 overall, 68 contact. He has great fucking speed. He has a good eye. I mean, it's not a huge eye, you're not talking like 90s eye, but it's going to be up there. But you're right. His build is more of a second baseman's build, especially with that 77 arm. Even though Mogul puts him as a 70 at second base. But he looks to be more of a second baseman than he does a shortstop.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely throw him over at second base. It's so weird. You're right, because you look at the positions and everything looks so much better shortstop than second, and I don't know what that is, because he's definitely second baseman. He's a guy that I would try to transition over there. But again, you fear that if you tinker too much with that, maybe he dies or something weird happens. But good player, don't get me wrong, very speedy, good enough eye, and if his contact stays up. The contact could be a little bit of a worry. If it doesn't get too high, he's going to be one of those soft hitting speedy guys, and you have to pray that he gets on from a walk. So, but a good pick. It's not a pick I would knock. I do like Salza quite a bit. Not as much as Crumley, but
yeah, true. But even if you look at if you're looking at his contact overall too, 68, with 73 overall. But if you look at his stats, so to speak, I guess you could call it, he's at 67 versus righties to start off, which isn't bad because a lot of the guys that you see that, especially like power third baseman or power outfield, have that 68 contact, and it's a 81 versus lefties and a 55 versus righties. You know what I mean? So he is at 67 there. So he does have that. He has that going for him in his contact.
Right. All right. So next comes Atlanta with back-to-back pitching picks. First one being Javier Rodriguez.
Yes, very high on this guy. I like this guy a lot. And
well, why not? He looks relatively similar to the guy we just talked about, Menard.
Right, exactly. I mean, like almost exactly. Other than he has, he has the one pitch above overall.
And no fastball.
Yeah. Nice endurance, so you should be able to get some good jumps out of him. Doesn't have that like 95 endurance that everybody's scared of. But he definitely looked like he was definitely the second arm in the draft to me. But I didn't stay in because I didn't think either of them would be at 7 when I got to 7. And funny enough, GB actually drafted the guy that I was at 7 that I was going to draft because I figured none of these pitchers would be here.
Yeah, I really liked Rodriguez. Like early on, I was like, yeah, this guy's pretty cool. We'll see what happens. And the more I was scouting the draft, the more like, oh, I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, at 15, you take him. You don't ask questions twice. Of course, in retrospect, yeah, no way he was fucking making it to 15. And after we go through the picks, we could talk about why it was obvious that he was not going to make it 15. And it's not because he looks to be a very good pitcher. There's more to it than that. Kind of reminds me of the Clayton Stewart kind of build. That low endurance, but it's going to have a real high control, high movement power. And then the pitchers are going to be okay, but nothing that's like super flashy.
Yeah. So, you're probably looking at mid 80s in control, and you're probably looking over 90 on movement. You know what I mean? He's going to be he's going to just be a solid fucking pitcher for you.
It'll depend on the jumps. I could see him going 90s on both control and movement. I really think that's where he ends up.
Yeah.
I'm not talking 95 control, but I'm talking like 90, 91 control, and then a higher movement. I think he's going to be one of those pitchers that, especially in a place like Atlanta, where they do very well with those type of pitchers, that he should absolutely be good. Now, the next guy is a guy that I also liked quite a bit, but they were bashing in the chat earlier, and I'm not entirely sure why, and that's Larry Sutton.
Because he was giving up an ass ton of home runs in his last 3 seasons for minor league stats. But other than that, I mean, he's pretty much got the same build as the other guys, better fastball. Although he does have the sinker in the 50s, but whatever. But and he's a year younger than them, so his control's already as high as those guys. A year younger, but his dice is really shitty in the minors. He's gave up 16, 16, 10 home runs, but again, that's in the minors, and he gave up 16 home runs, but his OBA was 196. So in the right park, those homers, I don't think will matter that much.
Yeah, listen, as Maddie will gladly tell us at nauseum if we let him onto the pod, minor league stats don't mean shit, and college stats and high school stats mean even less. That being said, we all look for trends, and trends where home runs are going up is an issue. But it's one of those wait and sees. Like, does he grow out of them? Or is it a permanent thing? Or
you mean when he's trying to trade you forward and who had 33 home runs in the minors, and he said that doesn't matter?
That's right.
Like that kind
of. Yeah. Now he's at 16, so we'll wait till he gets to 33 to really see what happens. But I liked him quite a bit. That was another guy that, like, if I had kept 15, that was a guy I was looking at getting. And again, apparently that everybody I thought I was going to get at 15, I wasn't going to get any of them. But
you saying that was the overall trend that I saw in the chat, was that everybody was picking these guys to go like much lower or much later, I guess you could say, much later in the draft, or even a round or two. They were all expecting them later, and they just flew, early on. They were gone.
Yeah, no, and Peter said that, and he was absolutely right. Everybody that you thought would, and again, I've noticed this a lot with my scouting. Guys that I think are going to go in the third or the fourth, go in the second or the third. To the point that I used to say that, like, here, I'm looking for this guy in the third, look for this guy in the fourth, and I stopped putting that on my scouting sheet because it was fucking wrong every goddamn year. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I stopped even doing that. But you're right. So here was the problem with this draft. We'll just talk about this real briefly before we get into the rest of the picks. Most of the bats, what did they not have?
Contact.
Contact. That's exactly
Yep.
right. You and I chatted about this earlier. So,
Yep.
but contact. Most of them were these, and again, it doesn't mean they're going to be bad bats, but these high 50 contact guys. And when you have a first round, if you look just at the draft board by anything, by scouting score, by peak, and you see nothing but these low contact hitters, you're just like, fuck it, I'm taking a pitcher. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's why we saw such an unusual run on pitchers. And again, this was a draft that it really was a pitching nice draft. There wasn't necessarily all these aces scattered around, but there's some very nice pitchers in it. But none of them were, oh my God, I have to take a pitchers outside of guys like Rodriguez, outside of guys like Menard, and maybe one or two others. Most of them were these lower peak guys but everybody was jumping on because they were the best pitchers in the draft, and the hitters just weren't sexy enough to want.
Right. And you had like even I was telling you this a couple days whenever I traded for Waterston. One of the things I told you is like after the top 10, and I'm a defense guy, but after the top 10, like defense was gone. You know what I mean? Even when I was scouting the draft, and I didn't really scout. I just, first couple, just sit down and sort of skim over to see what it looks like. After the top 10, I'm hitting the arrow. No. Just keep hitting the arrow. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I started hitting guys that I liked again. And I looked up and I was in the, mid to low 80s peaks that I started seeing guys I liked again. And it was just, you could tell it was just going to be one of those drafts. I mean, you're in the third round, you're picking guys that are peaking in the 70s, and there's still guys that are in the mid to upper 80s that are being autoed. It just tells you what I mean. There wasn't that just, start at the top. You have your peak guys at the top, and you're still seeing guys that are mid 80s all the way through down into the second round. It just wasn't
Right.
there. You know what I mean? And there was nice arms, but like you said, they weren't high peaked arms. But it was like back into the rotation bullpen guys. So it was, and they went a lot faster than I was because I watched the draft as you guys were going through. I was picking off, doing the picks too in case I wanted to like buy in or at some point, and I just started seeing guys go, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that happen before like that.
And that's because as soon as a couple of them went, all of them started to go because people realized if I don't take my guy, I'm not going to get my guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they all panicked and they all started. I don't want to say panic because it's not like these guys were bad picks. It's not like any of these guys were super reaches, I don't think. But they just started flying off the shelves.
Yeah, because like you said, it wasn't but there wasn't good overall hitter builds. You know what I mean?
Right.
So everybody
there was a couple and they went early.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was the major problem with this draft. So, but let's move on to the next build. A guy that is going to get comparisons to a guy that won't be shut the fuck up about ever. And so this is Greg Levinson, who looks a lot like he who shall not be named.
I don't know. This guy, I passed right over him. I mean, yeah, the peak's there, but there's no defense for a second baseman. No range on him. Right, exactly. he's the fucking mogul DH all over again. But
oh no, but you're wrong. No, you are wrong on this. There's a very easy and simple way to fix this guy to make him look beautiful.
What? Throw him into the majors and the outfield?
All you have to do is one little
whatever that
No,
fucking glitch is.
it. All you have to do right now is take that little tab that says 2B, click on it, and then go new position, third base, and click on that, and all of a sudden you're gonna have a monster on your hands.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's I
He's a
mean, let's
monster.
look at him at third base. Oh yeah, he's much better at third. Holy
Oh
shit,
yeah,
yeah, he's
yeah,
holy shit.
yeah. See, Dan, you need to listen
Yeah.
to me.
Damn, that feeling really goes
Every now and
up.
again, every yeah, exactly. Every now and again, I'm right. But I mean, you look at his power, like holy shit, like he's got
Yeah.
that power that you don't
Yeah, it's
generally see early
retarded.
on. You're right, big power, big eye, and the
I
contact's
mean,
not
dude,
bad. The contact's not. It's not great, but it's not bad. Like
no, it's not. It's
he's
not.
gonna make uh
But
he's gonna
like,
make the
look at
guy
his
that
look at
we shouldn't
he's
talk
20
about
years
look
old,
like his
dude.
bitch,
Oh
huh?
yeah. I mean, look, he's 20 years old and he's already 88 power against lefties. I mean, you're looking at a dude that might, I mean, with the right jump, might hit fucking 100 power versus lefties. I mean,
Yeah,
that's insane. I
yeah.
mean,
He's gonna make
if he hits the ball, he's gonna fucking put it out of the stadium, dude. He's gonna crush it.
yeah. Yeah, he's gonna make Mass's guy his bitch, and it's gonna be just hilarious to watch
Yeah, I mean,
for
this
me.
dude's. I mean, you may have a guy here. You may have a guy here that's hitting 40 to 50 home runs a fucking season, dude. I mean,
Yep.
it's not ridiculous to think that with him having like 70 contact versus righties, a fucking 87 eye, so he's not going to be your power strikeout guy. You know what I mean? Like if he doesn't hit the ball, he's going to walk. And I mean, just monster fucking power already, dude.
He's one of those guys that I knew was going to slip a lot further than he should have, and I hate to say that at what are we at pick 6 now that he slipped, but oof. I mean, especially with if you're looking at Stang, who had the pick right before this, or 2 picks right before this. You take the best pitcher you want. You take
Oh yeah,
Rodriguez, and you
yeah.
take Levinson. Like you can't not take Levinson. And again, I like Sutton a lot. Don't get me wrong, regardless of maybe the home run issues that might occur. You take Levinson. Like this guy is. I think he's gonna be something special. I think he might end up the best overall bat in the draft. Maybe not as useful in the end as somebody like Crumley or even somebody like Souza, but I just think I think you
Yeah,
can't pass this guy up.
no, this dude hits the majors and you just drop him right into a cleanup spot. I mean, he's just, I don't care if he hits 225, he's still going to hit fucking 40 home runs look, his first year of college, dude, he hit 20 home runs with 53 RBIs. His OPS is 1248. And that's not even his best year. His best OPS is 1367. This dude is just insane. I mean, his slugging percentage is 782. 815 is best year. I mean, he's insanely powerful.
Yeah. He's a guy that people are going to be like, fuck. And that's going to be on them. They should have done better. So, moving on to Detroit. Now, I don't think this was his auto. I think he actually made this pick. I think the rest of his picks were his autos. So this is his non-autoed first-round pick, Ivan Slera.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
this is a guy that
like,
looks to be a good defender. So one of the guys you would be after. He's a lefty, good defender, power. Eye's not quite where I would want it to be, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I think this guy's going to be a very good bat. I'm not sure exactly what type of bat he's going to come out to be. I'm going to guess a power bat, but not a lot of home runs so far in those youth numbers. But 18, a lot of room to grow. I think it's a good pick.
yeah, he was the guy. Actually, I mean, we were talking about, I think we were talking about before I started recording, or maybe I just said it, can't remember. But this is the dude that I literally had slotted at 7. Like, I figured he was going to be the guy that I was picking at 7 because I figured everybody else would be gone. Only because of the fact I looked at who was picking in front of me, so I knew the pitchers were gone. I knew that was just given. There weren't going to be any pitchers with Andy and Stang sitting in front of me. And I figured this was going to be the guy that was there. And like you said, he is my build. He's a defensive guy in the outfield. I mean, defensive guy just overall. I think his defense is going to help. But, I mean, I think I think you're probably looking at, once he finally peaks out, you're probably looking at a five or six guy in the lineup. He doesn't have the eye to go to the top of the batting, nor the contact to go to the top of the batting order. And he does look like he has the potential to be just versus, he's going to be great versus righties, but he's going to suck versus lefties. I mean, it's a possibility. He could jump out of that, but it kind of looks that way.
Yeah, I think most lefties kind of fall into that. Not all, but most. All right.
But I mean, overall, I think at number 7, with what's out there, I thought he was a good pick at number 7.
Yeah, no, there was one outfielder that I liked better, and he's picked a little bit later here, but I don't think this is a bad pick by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I like him because he's a overall good player. You know what I mean? And like Andy said, I've been hearing him say this a lot in chat, that a lot of people like pick that one thing they don't like about a guy and then just they throw him away because of that. And yeah, this guy's eye isn't that great, but if you look at everything else, he's a complete ball player. You know, you aren't he may not hit you 40 home runs, he may not hit 340, but you're gonna put him out on the field, he's gonna help you in the field, and he's not gonna hurt you in your lineup, putting him in your lineup.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. He's a good, hard-nosed kind of ball player.
Right.
Might not be as flashy as you want, might not hit how many home runs as you want, but he'll go out there time in and time out and do what he needs to do.
Yep.
All right, first surprise for me in the draft, and maybe just because I didn't scout infield as well as I should have, would be the next pick, Randy Laidlaw.
Let me look at this guy. Because this was that was the thing. Like, as soon as you looked at this draft, like, you saw all these high second basemen, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm getting my second baseman this year. And then you start dissecting them.
and they were all, for the most part,
Yeah, and this was one of those guys. However, though, if you throw him over to third base, he doesn't look all that bad at third base.
Which is what I would do.
Yeah, he's another one.
I would toss him over to first, third base,
especially with the arm. I mean, that arm's perfect for third base.
Right. Now, the only thing that concerns about me, and this is just a personal thing, is when you have all that power speed eye kind of all neck and neck or almost identical. For some reason, that always just freaks me out a little bit. Maybe it's a me thing. Maybe it means absolutely nothing. I mean, the speed's obviously nothing. The speed's not going to be
right. No, he's not. Yeah,
I doubt it moves more than 3 points total, if that. But if that's true, that means he's a power eye guy, and again, that makes him great for third base. You put the power eye guy with some defense at third base, and you just let him run. And his power's there, not great, but it's there. And he's young. I mean, he's only 17 too, so there is a lot to like about this. When I picked him as first man, I'm like, oh, good, one of my guys might fall to me. But then at the same time, when I look back and really looked into him, I'm like, no, that's a solid pick. I kind of like it. But again, you almost have to move him to third base to make him, the best that he could be.
Yeah, and he's like you said, he's 17, so there's a lot of room for it. But I'm with you that when I get vitals like that, and this just could be my head overthinking everything, because you almost have to analyze guys down to like what leg they put their fucking pants on in this league, because everybody's so fucking good at drafting. But I see I see the 71, 70, 71, and I'm like, all right, which one's Mogul going to take and which one's Mogul going to just completely fuck? You know what I mean? Like, where's Mogul going to screw you because all those vitals are so just packed together? You know what I mean?
Right, because I've taken guys that are like straight across the board, same vital. And you're like, all right, let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be like a 90, 90, 90, 90 guy. And then they end up being like a 70, 70, 80 guy. And you're like, what the fuck happened to that?
What the fuck happened?
Was like, what was going on when I drafted it? Like, it happens. So I stay away from those guys just because I'm worried about that. I don't think there's any basis to it, but that's just one of those things.
Yeah, same here.
Now, the next guy is an interesting guy, Max Bajongas. We're going to go with until somebody comes on to say that I'm wrong. Nope, nobody did. We're good. All right. This is a guy that I thought would fall a lot farther. I thought this was one of those pitchers that would fall maybe toward the end of the first, if not a little bit further, because I just wasn't Wasn't sure about him. Now got a good fastball, which you and I both like. His curve's not too far off. He's got a good ground ball. Right should go up a little bit, and his minor league stats have been pretty good. And it might be a little bit of a home run thing, but you're not too sure about it. But just for some reason, there was just I don't know. It just seemed like one of those guys that might slide a little bit further. Reminds me of that Arredondo guy that Atlanta took last year. Kind of that control movement, neck and neck, control power, neck and neck, with movement not behind the catch that needed a little bit to catch up. So I don't know. I don't hate the pick. It's just a guy that was on like the back end of my list, but not a guy that I was gunning to take.
I don't know. I've kind of fell into kind of liking this build with when I'm drafting the control power guys with the movement kind of coming up behind, not too far off. Now the only difference that I see with him as opposed to like some of the guys that I've seen, his control's real close to his overall, and so is his movement. So I think you might see. I mean, this is just me. I've just started playing around with this build and starting to see where it goes. But you may see his movement just completely blow the fuck past his control.
I think it absolutely will.
Oh yeah. But I mean, and you may see more points going to movement than you do control. But I mean, if you look at it, he's. I mean, his fastball is nice, like you said. His curveball's one tick off his overall. So it's going to jump up nice with it as he jumps to. It's not going to be the pitch that's left in the dust like Mogul seems to do. And I mean, looking at his minor run, I mean, he has one bad year with home runs, but other than that, I mean, he looks pretty good. I mean, I don't see this as a bad pick where he was picked at. I actually kind of like this guy.
Yeah,
but he is 21. He's got the 21 thing going too. You know what I mean? No one who picks pitchers likes the old pitchers.
Listen, I'll take a 21 and 22-year-old any day if the build is right and if they look good. So
yeah.
All right, first baseman makes it all the way to 10 this year. Jamie Archega goes to the Red Sox at 10. 18-year-old left-handed bat. But again, one of those builds, especially for a first baseman, that I get very wary of. So you look at the guy that his highs are contact, then power, and then his eye, which is still above his overall, lags behind both. So for me, I always get quite concernicist about what's going to happen with the eye, and what's going to happen with the contact power.
No, I'm with you there too. It's I don't know. I thought I've picked some good first basemen, but I'm with you. This build kind of scares you. I think his contact will go up. I think his eye will go up. I don't think the power will keep up with him. I mean, this guy, he'll probably be a 15, 20 home run guy, maybe a little bit more, maybe pushing 25 depending. But he also, I mean, just looking at his minors, he kind of looks like he'll be, I don't know. Well, I was thinking he's going to be a doubles guy, but I mean, his OPSs are pretty nice up until his last year of high school. But
here's the thing with this guy though. So I have crapped all over this build before, and been dreadfully wrong, as Dave will gladly tell you. The build reminds me a bit of the Joshua Capitanio out in Philly, who had a similar build, I believe, on draft day. And I just shit all over the pick. I'm like, this guy's going to be junk. He's trash. What'd you do? Yada, yada, yada. And now he sits as a 95 overall with a 99 contact, 90 power, and 77 eye. And just 324 lifetime average, already 74 home runs in his third and a half season. Like, just crushing the ball. Just unbelievably good. So, Dave is probably sitting there hoping secretly that I crap out on one of his picks this year so that he can just become a superstar. But so he might end up with that build, but I mean, that was an outfielder that had that build, not a first baseman. So, I'm just concerned at where, if anywhere, he goes with that.
Well, he seems the one good thing he has going for him. He's not going to be that just righty contact lefty. His lefty contact seems to be pretty decent, especially for an 18-year-old. He can't hit a changeup worth crap, but other than that, I mean, he kind of looks to have all the nice stats. But I think you'll see his. I think this guy. You'll see he'll be a high contact. He'll have a high eye, but I don't think the power will be what you want or what you think it could be. You know what I mean?
Right. Or yeah, we'll see.
Be higher than power.
We'll see. All right, next guy is another first baseman, Chris James, who I was not a fan of personally.
Ooh, a little run on first baseman here. Oh,
yeah, a little right-handed power guy. Got some good power. Got some real good power against lefties. Power versus righties, obviously, as it will. But just I don't know. I was not a big fan of this guy. He was not on my board at all. I just don't that power speed so close together, the eye a little bit behind, the power. Like if I want a power eye guy, I want their power 9 to be almost identical. And this 3 points off is just not. It sounds very nitpicky, not almost identical enough for me. And then the contact lagging out at 61, guy that's 19, which is a good thing. I don't know. I was not a fan of this pick.
I mean the if you're just glancing at him, his contact and his eye are where you want it to be. I mean, his power looks pretty good from just his overall compared to his overall. I don't like the fact that he's 59 overall and 19 years old. I mean, that may mean nothing. That might just be me, but I don't know. It's just something that usually at 19 you're hitting mid 60s by then, low to mid 60s. I don't know. It kind of scares me a little bit. But he's not. He's not. He doesn't have the. There's nothing that jumps out on this guy. You know what I mean? There's not like,
right.
Oh, he could be a fucking power guy, or his eye's going to be insane. Like, there's nothing that jumps out at you with this guy.
I think that was my biggest issue.
Bad. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're going to be sitting here in 4 years going, "What the hell happened to James?" Unless I mean, he's one of those ones that gets screwed because he has an early birthday. But there's nothing that's like, holy shit, this dude's going to blast the ball out of the park or anything like that, or he's going to have a 400 OBA. He just looks like, he's going to be an average run-of-the-mill guy.
Yeah, again, I was not a fan. All right, next we got Noah Magagi. Third baseman goes to Cleveland.
Oh, here we go. We're gonna get like chatted up if Maddie's in the chat because it's
don't say we. You're about to say something, not me.
Oh, I'm sorry. You gonna do it so you don't get bitched at in chat.
I get bitched at chat, whether it's private or public. I'm fucking over it.
I don't know. Power eye guy.
Power eye guy.
Not going to be able to hit the side of a barn if he's facing righties. I mean, he's got a good glove, but he can't read the hit worth shit. He can't move backwards. He can't move sideways. He's never going to make a fucking double play for you. So
you're saying he's a first baseman?
yeah. But hey, he's going to hit home runs versus lefties. I mean, he has decent power. His power looks nice. His eye looks. I mean, obviously his eye's fucking really nice for where he's at. So is his power. But I mean, he could also turn into a Shaw without the defense.
Right. And that's where I'm at with this. Like, as far as a power eye guy go, checks the boxes. But you want to see the contact a little bit higher. I would like to see the contact a little bit higher.
I'm with you.
especially since he's a righty. If he was a lefty, no, that's a little bit different. As a righty, and again, he wouldn't have been a lefty third baseman probably, but as a righty, ugh,
Yeah,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I know very well that some people come on and will tell us how we're wrong about all this and
yeah.
upside. Yeah, he's got 26 upside. Don't get me wrong, that's great. Um, but I think you're looking at like the Scott Miller type.
I
Like
just
who's already the difference between Scott Miller and him is McGaggy's already at third base. He doesn't have to be trying to forced there. He's going to be a righty that can hit some home runs, have a decent eye, but his contact's just never going to get that good. Like I doubt. I bet it gets in the mid 70s. I think you're ecstatic if it does. I just don't see it getting much higher. And again, I
yeah.
know people will come on and be like, "Oh no, he's got the chance to get into the 80s or the yellow 90s."
No,
The fuck he does. No, he doesn't.
no, he's not. That
He's gonna
contact's not into the fucking 80s.
if he
Not.
gets to a 78, just thank the mogul gods with the sacrifice of a newborn lamb. Like fuck,
Yeah,
like, it's not. It's probably going to end up in that 74 range.
yeah.
And it'll be fine. He'll hit home runs. He just won't be that guy that you would really hope that he could be.
No, and I'm with you on that too. I understand the power eye and why people go after the power eye, but if I'm going after a power eye guy, I want that contact higher. I don't want a 59 contact on a guy. It's just it's the roll of the dice for Mogul, and 9 times out of 10, Mogul is not going to give you that good jump that you hope for because you pull that guy out. Now, if the guy, if you're looking at him right now, say he's 19 with a 67 overall, and he does have that power eye build, and he has a 64, contact, or maybe even a 65. Yeah, I'd be all over him. But that 59 just scares me that, yeah, you're right. He could end up with a 78 contact. And that would be like, in my opinion, the greatest possible thing that he could get would be a 78 contact. It's also quite possible that you're getting a guy that's going to have a 71 or a 69 contact. Because Mogul's just going to dump everything into high end power. And I know everyone's going to bitch at me and tell me, no, you're wrong. What the fuck do you know? It's just, you know what I mean? We all know it's quite the possibility.
No, it looks like so far we're being agreed with. Mid 70s contact is everything they can hope for, and we're not saying that he won't hit the hell out of the ball. Apparently, is what people are getting out of this. We're just saying he might. Again, Scott Miller is who I see. So we will move on to Marty, an actual Marty, not fake Marty, but real Marty, Nygaard. Fuck, let's go for another guy that I bet you would have liked. Good arm, good range.
Yep.
But then the offense gets a little weird.
Yeah, I mean it's like because you have a right-hander, you have the 68 contact who has a fairly weak eye, at least an eye that most people don't want to go at because it's not above the average. But again, you're looking at Slera, or however you'd pronounce it. It's 7. You got the same kind of guy there. Now I'd put, I think Slera was a left fielder. I'd put him in right, and I'd put this guy in left. I think
it looks like he might be pretty good in center too, to be honest.
Actually, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't be bad in center. He's got he definitely has the range for it. He has a nice arm for center field, and his fielding stats are, if you look at his stats, his fielding stats are nice for center fielder too. I don't know why Mogul has him as a 74 as a center fielder, especially with that range. And for some reason, if you put him in center field, he clicks it. His fielding goes down a little bit, but I mean, he does have a pretty decent center fielder build. And that's, I mean, look at the speed isn't huge. You know what I mean? You're not looking at a guy who has 88 speed right off the bat, but you do have a guy, if you look at his stats, you have a guy who's going to run the bases great for you. He's another guy that's going to score runs for you.
This, I think, was my favorite outfielder that was taken in the top, maybe in the draft. I did like this guy. It's one of those guys at first blush, you're like, oh, fuck no. And then you look closer and you're like, oh, Okay. I got you.
Yeah,
I got you. And you're like, shit. Yeah,
another all-round overall good guy.
yeah, this reminds me almost of like like a Starling Marte, somebody that's gonna probably be a 2020, maybe even a 20. We'll safely say a 2020 guy. That's
Yeah,
just gonna be a very good bat to put in the lineup. A guy that you plug in the 2 hole because he's gonna get on base, he's gonna hit guys in, and he might
yeah,
swipe you a couple bags in front of the 3 guy. Like
yeah,
this is a guy you safely pick and very much enjoy.
yeah. He's a 2 guy. He's a 2. I may even drop him in the 6 too. Well, it depends. It depends on how much power you have on your team.
Well, yeah.
It just goes, yeah, it depends on how many power guys you have on your team. But yeah, I'm with you. He definitely looks like a pretty good number 2 guy. He may not have the high eye, but you want that's your leadoff guy. But he's still gonna, just his base running skills alone, he gets on base, he's gonna score if you have good bats behind him.
Yep.
And he's probably gonna hit a lot of doubles, with the way his base running looks. He's going to have a lot of extra bases. Now, I don't know what his. He has a decent amount of doubles, especially for high school, and triples. Oh, he is quite the triples guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got that sneaky speed. Like, he's going to be a very good bat, I think. I think this would be, again, and we're talking about top bats in the draft, guys that are really going to come out of this and be like, wow. I mean, outside of the top 2, like, Crumley and Levinson and potentially Slera, I think this is that next guy. I like him better than any of the last 3 bats, at least, that have been taken. Maybe 4 or 5 bats that have been taken. Like, I'm really surprised he went down this far. I think he's going to be something quite special.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Now, let's talk about the first holy shit, what the fuck just happened pick of the draft. And that was George Eccles going 14 to Atlanta. Nah.
Yeah. Well, what do you say?
Here's what you say. I wanted this guy. I'm not gonna lie, but this is one of those guys that I had that comp pick at 31. I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna roll the dice on Eccles. Like, he's young. He's 19. He's got that really high control. He's got that movement that's in power both above his overall, not by much, but the movement's gonna jump and the power's gonna be fine. He looks like a guy that could be like almost that Zunga type of build, that high control and good movement, with just solid endurance. But then you start to look at some of the issues. Well, before you get to the issues, let's get to the good stuff. He has 65 ground ball rate. Like,
yeah, he does.
Fuck, holy shit! Like, that's even if that stays there, great. But that has the possibility of going up, being one of like those 70% ground ball rates. Then you're just like, fuck it, I don't care how bad he looks. I'm gonna ground balls for days in my Gold Glove defense. But then you look at, and again, I know you and I are different from a lot of people on the pitches. He's a curve changeup guy. His fastball is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Bogle usually beats the fuck out of you if you have a really bad fastball, and he's going to have a really bad fastball. On top of that, he's throwing at 85 miles an hour. His mile an hour range is 84 to 86. That scares me. It scares me quite a bit.
Well, I mean, me and you have talked about this before, and it's not like I don't have to have a guy who's going to have a 95 fastball. I have to have a guy who's going to have a decent fastball because, like you said, for some reason, and I don't know what it is, because there's guys in the majors who live off of throwing 85-mile-an-hour fastballs and just fuck with your head, throwing curveballs and changeups at you the entire time because their changeup and their fastball look exactly the same when they leave his hand. But for some reason, Mogul doesn't take that into effect and seems to just destroy these guys. Now, granted, if this guy was a couple more higher in peak, I'd be all over him. And 82 in the first round, I mean, if nothing worse, if this guy never has the mogul jump that we all pray for at night when we go to bed the night before draft and draft eve, and we're praying about our sleepers that we all think we're going to grab. Yeah, and you laugh because every one of us do it.
I said a couple prayers last night. Said a couple more this morning at work.
This is the dude that's going to jump for me, and he ends up becoming a 79 peak, and you just release him. But I mean, if this guy gets the fucking mogul jump, he's going to be awesome. At worst, he looks like he's going to be a great fucking closer. At worst. I mean, this is a guy who just, I mean, he's like, as long as mogul doesn't fuck with him because of the fastball, at worst, he's going to be a great closer or setup guy. One of those two, if you have a great an infield defense. Because, if you can throw him in, like say he doesn't, like I said, say he doesn't get the jump and he peaks out in this range, because like I have Beasley right now who vital wise should be doing great. And I have a pretty decent middle infield build just like this. So to almost, once he peaks out, mogul's just beating the hell out of him for some reason this year in my rotation. But I mean, like you drop this guy into a fucking setup role if this is where he peaks out in the 82, 83 range, and I think he's going to have a 1.5 ERA in your fucking bullpen for you.
Yeah, I hear you. So I think you hit the nail on the head with this. Is that jump is going to sell a lot. And conversely, if he doesn't jump, it's going to say a lot, because he doesn't jump, then he hits that October birthday, and you go from, all right, I got this guy in the first round, looks good, young, there's two, oh fuck, and then you pray that he gets a mega jump to make up for the lack of a jump or whatever.
Yeah,
and you're scratching your head like, why the fuck did oh god. So I like him. Couple concerns. It was a guy I really did want to get in that early second, late first range. And I think a lot of people did. I think that's why they were shocked that he went this fucking early.
Well, so the other thing about him, like, and because obviously, well, I mean, Stang grabbed him. So Stang already has some good arms that he grabbed, you know what I mean, in the first round. So being that this is his third pitcher in the first round, you know what I mean? Like, this is, especially with, like me and you were saying, there was no great bat builds left. I mean, I could see why he took him.
There's one.
Here's what scares me. Here's what would scare me. Well, here's what I have to do. I'd have to look to see what his first jump was. And then you have to make the decision. Are you going to keep him as a starter and hope he keeps jumping, depending on what his first jump is? Or do you just say, fuck it, and put him in at short relief and start letting mogul drop that endurance down? And, what are you going to do with him? You have to make that decision really quick with this guy.
Right. And I think if you're going to take another pitcher, I think there's at least, I'm looking at the next 10 picks. There's 3 that I take over him right now. For as much as I did like Eccles, there's 3 that I take over him right.
Right. At the same time, I don't beat Stang up for it. I understand why he took the guy. It just depends on what he plans on doing with him, because I don't think, unless he gets that jump, this guy ever makes your rotation.
Right. I think that is it's a big risk.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in the top 15 of the draft. A draft that went pitcher heavy, and you take a pitcher. Again, there's 3 guys I see in the next 10 picks that I would take over him at that spot.
I see what you're saying.
Easily. All right, next guy, Bruce Varley. This is when GB was having a stroke, and for some reason was unable to pick. Again, he either had a stroke or he was mixing his medications with alcohol again.
We're not quite sure. I think he just had spicy tacos and couldn't get off the shitter.
And Dan, let's be fair. He might have been in Vegas with his dad again, and he just couldn't get out of the room while the banging was going on. So we don't know this for a fact, but I'd put money on a bet line. So you have a 17-year-old lefty left fielder. Looks very familiar to the guy that he actually picked at 7 overall. So unbeknownst to him, he's just getting stocked up with left fielders. But again, I kind of like this one. He's got that contact that's not far above versus righties as I would like, but it's still above. Looks like he might have a pretty decent eye. The speed's there, but I think it stays exactly where it's at. I don't think that speed moves at all. I think the power starts to increase. I think this is a guy that you end up seeing somewhere maybe like that. I hate to shoot so high, but maybe like that 90 contact, 90 eye, and like mid 80s to upper 80s power. Like one of those bats that you're really happy that you have, even if he's just kind of a little bit
You're,
slow in the field.
you're
With his
stretching raw
stats,
power, dude.
fuck it, you put him in left
You're
field.
stretching
Hmm?
raw power. I don't think you're going to see an
And
upper
I
80s
think I
power.
might be, but I think if you look at it, he's already got almost 70 power at 17 against lefties.
Oh, he is 17.
I
Yeah,
could
I
see
missed
it. Yeah, he's 17, so I could see it getting into the 80s, mid 80s, maybe even upper 80s. And if that's the case, you got a really good bat in your hands. Like you did nothing wrong with that auto pick. There's been plenty of auto picks the last couple of years that have really
I
rolled
see
the
this as
person's
a
way.
guy that I used to get a pitcher.
Yes, I think that is a very.
I was waiting for the joke, but you didn't grab it.
I think this is. I think you're right. I think this is the guy that you trade. Well, nah, I'm not gonna make that joke yet. I'm gonna wait till later. As I say, I know some pitchers that I would pitchers. They're about a 72 peak, but they're really fucking good. You're missing out on. They're only 24. No, I can't bash it for an auto. There's nothing wrong with it. I think, but
Oh
I think
no,
you're
this
right.
is a great auto pick. I'm not lying. I'm
I
not
think there's a very good chance he ends up trade bait more than anything else.
Yeah, he's trade bait, or if you have a good outfield, I mean, he could be. It depends. Like what you go with your DH. A lot of people go pure power with their DH. I kind of like to go with contact guys that are going to score me runs at my DH, and look for power other places. But I don't like his defense at all.
No.
Not at all. Like I don't care who says what about it. I do not like his defense. I mean, yeah, you see 77,
he'll be fine in left field.
79 at different positions, but then you look at his stats and he's all low 70s. So yeah. I don't want to put this guy in the field ever.
I think he'd be fine in left field. He's not going to win you a Gold Glove, but he's not going to lose any games. I think left field would be okay for
him. Yeah, he's not a righty. He's not a right fielder. That arm just sucks.
No, God, no. Left fielder DH. Now let's move on to Mr. Walls, Mr. Rich Walls, a guy that Andy actually cursed at. Yeah, a guy. Listen, he was another guy that is at the top of my pitching list. Him and a guy that we're going to talk about in a minute here. And I think it's relatively obvious why. He's got that control power upper build with the movement at his overall. He's got 3 pitches. They're all good. They're all above his overall, not far above, but above. And his minor league things. Look, he doesn't. The home runs. He's kind of got that Jekyll and Hyde thing going. 2 years with iffy home runs and 2 years without. So I'll be curious to see how that develops moving forward. But I mean, I like him. I think he's got a high ground ball rate. He's only 17. I think there's a lot to like with this pick.
Oh yeah, he's got that build that, talking to a lot of the guys in the league, because obviously after my last rebuild, my pitching picker skills were fucking horrible. So, I'm out gathering information, and this is like the build that everybody tells me to go after. His endurance isn't that high. You know what I mean? So that's not going to take away from his jump. His health isn't high either. I'm not a huge fan of a 65 health in a pitcher, because Mogul tends to just fucking beat the shit out of him. But that control is right where you want it at. That movement is there to start jumping up. I mean, you're definitely looking at a really nice control movement guy. And like me and you were talking earlier, decent fastball. I'd like to see the fastball to be like a 91, 92 fastball as opposed to an 87, 89. High ground ball rate, nice slider, really nice slider, because that slider is going to play really fucking good with that movement when that movement starts to jump. I mean, this is going to be a nice. I mean, Walls, depending on how he jumps, you're looking at a fucking solid number 3 guy in your rotation. I mean, just flat out solid number 3 guy. If he jumps good, he jumps up into your number 2 spot. I don't think you're looking at an ace. I don't think this guy's going to jump to a 95, like destroy everybody. I may be wrong. He may get the Mogul jump. but you're looking at just a solid middle rotation, like throw him in there and just give him the money when it comes. He's going to be nice. I think he's going to be a nice pitcher, real nice pitcher.
Yeah, I think he's a great pitcher. I think that it's. I was a bit surprised he went. Honestly, I thought he might slip a little bit further.
So did a lot of people,
especially since he was a lefty. And everybody seems to hate lefties. I don't know why everybody hates lefties. Andy and I were actually talking about this before the draft because I was checking in on one of his lefties, and he's like, "You just want him because you think lefties do well at your park." I'm like, "Lefties do well at my park. That's exactly why I want him." And he didn't disagree because for some people their parks do matter and lefties can make a difference. And for some reason mine tends to swing that way. I've made lefties look like gods, where everywhere else they just look like absolute shit.
Yeah,
so
true.
It's possible, but he's a guy. I think he'll be good. I think that there's people that in the end they're gonna be like, "Oh man, I really should have taken a chance on him." But I don't think anybody's gonna be absolutely killing themselves because they didn't get him before this. I think he got picked again, maybe a little bit earlier than some thought he deserved or where he should have been picked, but it wasn't a reach.
Right. But this is where you see, this is like Walls is the start of that, like, gotta grab my pitcher now. Because I guarantee you, everybody was waiting for this guy in the comps or the upper second round. And when they saw him go, it was fucking game on.
Yeah. He when I ended up getting picked 25, he was one of those guys that was in my short list at 25.
Yeah.
And when I saw him go at 16, I said, fuck, because I knew that there was going to be a run on pitchers, and the guy that I wanted, who we're about to talk about, and in a couple picks here, was going to be gone, and I was just beside myself because of that. So the next guy is another pitcher. His name is Vlad the Impaler Eslarius. Kind of a similar build to what we're looking at. Good fastball, good two-seamer. High ground ball rate, good control, solid power. Movements a little bit below, but is going to jump up. But a guy, if for some reason this guy was not personally on my list. Maybe it's because the walk and strikeout are so close together. Maybe because the home runs weren't ideal the last 2 years. Nothing scary, but less than ideal. I don't know what it was. He was not on my list as a guy that I was even considering drafting.
Well, I think where, like, when I look at him, he's another one that has that build where you just see the all the vitals look just nice for that fucking control movement guy. And this is where, when I look into the minors, I don't pay attention to, especially, well, let's put it this way. I don't pay attention to it when I'm looking at high school, college guys. Because if you look at his high school, you see the strikeout walk isn't that bad. But then once he gets to college and he's sitting there with a 66 control, he's going to walk guys once he gets to college. So that's where I stopped paying attention to the K walk ratio. I don't like the fact that he has a couple years with an over 4 ERA. His home runs, they don't seem to be an issue. But he doesn't seem to be. I like the fact he has 2 pitches above his overall. He's another guy. I would say he's, being at 20 years right now, you probably got a back of the end starter there. Worst case scenario, he falls. I think he'll make your rotation at 4 or 5. Worst case scenario, you have a great long reliever on your hands. But I think he'll make a rotation.
He might. It was a guy that there was just enough things there that I didn't, not even red flags, just things that I did not feel good about, and there was just no way I was going to take him.
Yeah, he's the guy.
So when I saw him go again at 17, I knew that he's just not a guy. Again, there's guys. Again, I'm looking at the next 10 picks. I see 3 pitchers I would take, and one of them I did take over this guy, hands down, no questions asked.
I don't know.
So it was just a question of
he's
why
one of those guys
this guy, why
like,
now?
If you're looking for the build, he's one of those guys that has the build that you're looking for, that Mogul just seems to pick one random guy and fuck with him. He seems like he's going to be that guy that Mogul's going to fuck with. you just get that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
and I actually
look
have
at
a
this
theory.
guy. You're like,
I have a
drafted him. He should be so much better. In 4 years down the road, you're like, why the hell is Mogul beating the shit out of this guy? He seems to be that guy.
and I'm not going to lie. I have a theory about that. I'm not going to share it in this chat, but you and I can talk about it
Yeah,
later.
good.
But
Share it
I have a
with me
theory about which.
DM. Don't tell everybody else.
No, I'm not. And again, this is one of those theories that might be complete bullshit, like Jermaine's. But I have a theory that I've been looking at, and the more I look at it, the more I'm like, ooh, God, I might actually be right. So, moving on to Mr. Anton Hales, probably the first baseman that I liked the most in the draft. And that's again because he's 19, he's a lefty, good power, great eye, and his contact's not shite. So hitting good home runs, getting doubles. His OPS is pretty good. I mean, that one year you look at that, he had a 1303. OPS is fine, slugging's okay. Like I like him. I think he's going to be a very good bat. Not against lefties, obviously, but I think he's going to crush righties.
I was literally, that was like the only thing that jumped out to me, is that this is going to be your first base build that has decent power. He's lefty, but he's only going to hit right-hand guys. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about earlier. This is that build that you know that always fucks with me personally. Maybe not anybody else, but this is the guy I go, that's the guy I want. And then 3 years down the road, I'm looking, and he'll crush righties, but his lefties get so bad that you almost need to find a platoon guy to hit lefties for him. But I think he's nice. He's going to hit the ball. There's no doubt about that.
He's going to smoke the ball against righties, against lefties if he's not on the bench.
Yeah. Yep. No, he has that lefty, nice contact, power eye guy. You know?
Yes. Yeah, he's a guy that you take and you're safely like, I'm good with this. Like,
yep.
I mean,
I'm okay with this guy. He's good.
I'm good with this guy. I hate to say safer, but he was one of the safer mid to late round, first round picks that you pick, and you're like, you know what? I'm good. No, we're good. Everything's good. How are you?
I got my first baseman for the future. I don't even have to worry about first base anymore. Let's start moving on to other positions. Yeah.
I don't need to listen to MZ trying to trade me a first baseman or offering first base. No, fuck, we're good. And now, as long as you don't go to the Rocky level where you're picking every first baseman because he's a first baseman, it's fine. Everything's fine. Now let's move on to my favorite pitcher, the pitcher I really wanted to get, the pitcher that when I picked 25 and got back into the back of the first round, I'm like, great, I have a really good shot at getting this guy. And then as I watched the pitchers fly off the shelf, I said, fuck, I'm not going to get him, am I? And Percy kind of swung through and nabbed him. And that's Brant King.
Oh yeah,
Brant King again.
He's nice.
Yeah, fuck you, dude. I'm well aware he's nice. He looks a lot like those two guys that I liked last year. One of which was looking good for Atlanta there, Arredondo, after his massive +3 winter ball, and one that's looking pretty good after his winter ball at KC, and Viela, a guy that I really wanted and should have taken, but I was talked out of it. But that's not the point. Love this guy. Big control, big power. Movement's going to be quite good. He's going to have one of the better fastballs you're going to see, and a good slider. And the splitter's going to be probably not too bad. And he'll probably develop a fourth pitch somewhere along the line. Issue you're going to have, not a high ground ball rate. For me, that doesn't bother me as much, especially for a guy that I think is going to be just a special pitcher when it's all said and done. 20 years old. I don't think he has a birthday this year, not till November, so he won't turn 21 until the offseason. He had a little bit of a home run issue in college that first year, but it's the first year. Everything else looks okay. He's going to strike out a lot of guys. He's not going to let a lot of guys on base. He's going to be a workhorse. The high endurance, it's not in the 90s, so I'm not as concerned about it, but the higher 81s, like, you worry how much that's playing into things.
Yeah.
But I just absolutely love this guy. Absolutely love this guy.
Yeah, Percy's going to fucking be real happy, I think, with how this guy. I mean, just look at his K to walk ratio. I mean, he's a fucking strikeout god. Especially with that, he has an 82 fucking fastball already. So that fastball is hitting probably
97, 99.
Yeah, when he peaks out, he doesn't have, even though what you'd like to see is, even though you see like that home run number creep up a couple times, even though that home run number hits double digits in his minors, his ERA is consistently in the threes, and his OBA is low. So he may give up some home runs, but he's not giving up like grand slams or 3-run homers. He's giving up, solo home runs because he's striking out everybody, or everybody else in front of him isn't getting on base.
Yeah, and when you look at the guy with a high strikeout rate like him, that endurance might be good for him because that means he's going to stay in the game longer and just continue to fucking mow people down. Yeah, really, really high on this pick. Really upset that I was not able to find a way to draft him. Again, as I said earlier in the thing, he was the guy that I had pegged absolutely at 15. Like, no matter who else was there, other pitchers that I liked that I thought might have been a little bit higher rated, this was the guy that I wanted at 15. Had I stayed there, if he was there, that was the guy I would have picked.
Yeah.
And I would have been thrilled with it. All right, next we have Tim Bosshog, a 17-year-old switch-hitting right fielder coming out of the great state of Illinois. I'm making that up because I'm just clicking on tabs. Nope, he's from Canada. Oh, no, he sucks. All right, moving on.
Yep. He's just going to apologize for everything.
Yeah. Geez. Oh, sorry about the day. That's offensive. There's Canadians in this league. Any of them listening right now? Fuck, one of them might be. I don't care. Stand by my statement. All right, so Tim Hogg, an unfortunate Canadian that has come down to America to play that ball with the stick game. I don't know about this pick. I honestly don't. I really like the eye, obviously.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's a switch hitter, as Andy said, don't let me take switch hitters or I'm going to kill you all the time. Like, all right, Andy, well, I haven't seen you take one in a while, so I'm a little confused. But everything's there. Everything is right about where it should be. Everything against righties is at level. Everything at lefties is about 2 below. It's kind of what you look for.
Yeah.
Or at least what I look for when I'm looking at switch hitters. No speed. No defense, so I'm confused where he ends up. Maybe DH, but if the power isn't great, what are you actually getting here?
Depending on what, this. I like the offensive build. Don't get me wrong, because he's everything's gonna equal out really nice. Offensive wise, I mean, he's not a superstar in any one of the categories, so to speak, other than high, which is going to be insane. Like, this dude's going to probably have close to like a 400, if not higher, like OBA. He's definitely going to be in the 380 to 400 range. But after that, I mean, granted, he looks like he could be a good 2 guy. He looks like he hits his fair, surprisingly enough, for a 63 speed, he hits his fair share of triples. But you know what I mean? Like, you're not putting him in the field.
I think we said it right at the start. He's Canadian. All right, so moving on.
Sorry for
it is nothing against high heat. I don't know. I don't see it. All right, Bruno Donnelly, another one of those guys that early on I looked at and going, ooh, look at that contact, and then just skipped right past him.
Yep.
I mean, so here's a guy, Bruno Donnelly, center fielder. He went, God, what pick is this? 19 overall, 21 overall to Chicago, who missed the draft due to work or something like that. So this was an auto pick, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, don't hold me to that, but I believe it kind of explains it. He's a center fielder that can't play center field, probably can't play right field, and probably can't play left field.
No.
He looks to have that power eye build, but his contact is in the shitter. 79 speed. Oh, no, not really. Okay, so you just don't know what to make of him. I mean, yeah, his base running is not terrible, but it's not that good. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like his speed's okay, stealing's okay, tendencies higher than you want it based on the other stats. But his He's going to hit lefties. I mean, look, he's already got 73 contact, 85 power against lefties. Like, sure, he'll hit lefties.
Yeah.
But what costs?
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at a guy with 30 upside. Sure, that's great at 17. You're okay with that. But you're looking at a guy that's going to be a bench guy that just hits against lefties. It's not ideal.
Yeah, because even if you look at his power, like even when you're looking at a guy and you're like, okay, this is going to be a power I guy. Usually, there's power at both, hitting righties and lefties. Even though he's not going to ever hit the ball, if he does make contact with it, he's going to hit it out of the park. This guy doesn't even have that against righties.
Right. This is a guy that if you're betting against righties, something has gone drastically wrong in your lineup. I'm not a fan. Personally, not a fan. It's one of those guys that I saw early on. I was like, oof, he's going to fall deep, and I'm not going to. Don't take him. Regardless of what you think, look away from the peak. Look away from the things you think are good. He's not. Don't take him. Don't take. He was literally on my don't take asshole list.
Yeah, this would be the guy that you
would draft. So I know that I'm doing.
This would be the guy you draft and shine him up and trade him to whoever the new GM is.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you do.
But don't say me, asshole.
He's gonna he's gonna hit so many home runs for you. Give me, your 95 peak starting pitcher. And the guy goes, yeah, and then everybody hates you. This is why everybody hates you in chat, because that's what you would do with this guy.
Yeah. And just for those listening, he's not saying me specifically. He's saying general managers in general, not me specifically.
No, not you. Or Pete would try to trade him to me for, Waterston or something. I had to get it in.
About right. All right. That's what he said. All right. So the next pick is Philadelphia's pick of Peter Whitfield. This is a gentleman that I had definitely considered taking with my first round pick. Actually, this makes like 3 picks in a row leading up to my pick of guys that I was considering with my pick. I do like this guy quite a bit, Peter Whitfield. He's got a good range. He's got good fielding. His arm's kind of shit, but who cares? He's a center fielder. He looks pretty good in center. Not great, but pretty good. He looks very good at left, but you really hope that he sticks to center. Got some speed. Not a lot of it, but he's going to swipe some bags, and he's not going to be bad at it. And I think as a switch hitter at 18, eyes okay, power's okay, contacts okay. He's gonna be one of those guys that's not gonna be like jazz hands awesome, but he's gonna be pretty damn good for you out in the outfield.
Did you just pull out jazz hands?
Yeah, I even did it too. You can't see it, but I definitely did jazz hands on my computer.
Yeah, no, I do. I like this guy. I like this guy as a center fielder. I like him, especially if that eye. It looks to stay pretty good. You know what I mean? Like, it may not hit the 90s, but it's still going to be up there. Like, this guy looks to be a very good, I mean, depending on who you have in your lineup, obviously, but this guy looks to be a good leadoff 2 guy. Leadoff, or depending on what you have, or if you have a leadoff, this is your number 2 guy. Like, I think he has good defense. No, he's not that great on
defense. Isn't the best, but it's not bad.
No, it's not going to kill you. I mean, looking at him, once I click on our little field icon over here and I look at him and I look at what Mogul does to him, even though he does look like he has the vitals to be a center fielder, more than likely I'd throw him over into left field, just because it looks like Mogul prefers him in left field for whatever reason, even though when you look at the little field icon, Mogul doesn't prefer him there, but once you click on it, it looks like where he would go. So I would probably throw him over into left field. But if I don't have another center fielder, like, I'm throwing this guy in center field. I'm not all that.
But as a guy that could play center field, put him in left field is going to be a bonus for you on the diamond.
Right.
Like, that's going to help defensively quite a bit. So, yeah, I'd put him in the 2 hole. Maybe, and this sounds maybe weird to people, I'll let him be the leadoff for the leadoff. Like, let him just get on base, steal a base, and do his thing for the leadoff. But, I like the pick. I do. I like the next pick, and I hate to say it. God, I hate to say it because it's fucking mass. I like the next pick a lot, too. I really, he was one of those guys early on. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, what can I say?
Good for you. But he's one of those
I
guys
don't like
early on
that
I was
drunk.
looking
Holy shit.
too short on. The more I scouted him, the more I really liked Russell McCornish a lot. Great fastball, very good sinker. Curveball's there, a bit behind, but there. And just he looks like a big strikeout pitcher. Home runs were a little high last year, that first year of college, but we've seen that in a lot of pitchers we've seen so far in this first round, where that first year of college, the home runs went up. It really depends on where we go from here. But I like him. I like him quite a bit.
Yeah,
He's got a ground ball rate that might get in the 50% range. Throws it pretty hard. Good fastball, great
yeah,
sinker. Like, I really like this pick. I think he's going to be a very good
yeah.
pitcher.
Nice strikeout. Nice. Just even if you're, even if you're looking at strikeout to walk ratio, even though, like I said, once he gets to college with that 62 controlled, Mogo always kills him once they hit college with the low control. But I mean, just the strikeout numbers are 74 Ks his first year of college with a 206 OBA is just phenomenal. Even though the home runs are a little high. I mean, look, 14. This is another guy that strikes the fuck out of everybody and gives up an occasional solo home run because he gave up 14 home runs and still has a 273 ERA. Like, that wouldn't scare me away from him at all. The build, especially because that movement's going to start jumping, so that sinker is going to be a nice play ball.
It's going to be a great out pitch.
Yep. The only thing that bothers me about him is I look at him, I look at his vitals. His birthday is until August, and the dude's already dropped. That just scares me. That has that steady mogul fucking decline look to it. I hope it's not. He looks good, but it has this start to step down, because if he doesn't hit it, if he doesn't get a jump and he hits August, it's going to fucking drop again.
Right. No, he's cruising for a bruising there at the end of August. So he either needs to jump before then and jump enough that the drop's not going to hurt him, or jump immediately after that. We've seen that recently. We have seen some immediate jumps. They're rare, but they do exist. So he needs to do one of the two things. Otherwise, you're right. He could drop down to that 82 range. We've seen a lot of other picks, and then you're just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
But then again, as long as he doesn't take it on the chin over the winter or over spring training, like, he'll have plenty of time before next August to get a big jump again. So I'm really high on this pitch guy. I really do like him. He was a guy that if he had kept falling, I very well might have taken, because I was quite high on him. I was also very high on the next guy, Alberto Vilsner, which has been our
Nah, nothing.
Yeah, I'm not a master. This is a guy that I like. It's the guy that we've seen in all the last couple of drafts. Not to that extent.
I really like this guy.
he looks kind of familiar to last year with Mr. I'm Andy, so I took him. Fuck you, Young. Was it Eric Young?
Yeah.
Really, it's 22. He's 22, so let's start there. I mean, that is a concern, but he just turned 22. I mean, his birthday was in April, so I mean, he's got a bit to go. But 22, 77 contact, 91 speed, 72 eye, and his defense is just amazing. They have him as a right fielder. You put him in center. You fucking just put him in goddamn center field.
Back. Yeah, he's a fucking beautiful.
Like, holy shit, this guy's gonna steal a ton of bases.
And
he's gonna get on a lot. Oh,
what I like about him, and I mean, you just said it. He has an April birthday, and he didn't fucking drop at all. He actually looked like he jumped. And that's, granted, he's 22. I mean, hopefully, if this dude gets the sleeper jump that we all hope, he's going to be a fucking god. I love him. I do. I think this guy's fucking great. I mean, you're looking at
call him a god. I'd call him a monster. He's going to be a monster. Thank God he's in the NL. I hate to say that. I say this a lot when the guys go that I want, and then I'm just like, oh, thank God he's in the NL. Because the last thing I want to do is see some asshole in the fucking AL West picking this guy and him just biting me in the ass for the next 10 fucking years.
Oh, I know. Because, I mean, you're looking at this guy, and he's already 75 righties, 83 lefties. I mean, he's
Yeah.
he's fucking nice. He
He,
really is.
he was another one of those guys, and I'm like, you know what? He might drop into the top of the second. Just because there was so many pitchers going, all this other stuff. I'm like, he might drop into the top of the second. And then it was getting close to me, and I was like, do I take him? Or do I take the one of the pitchers that I really want? I was really debating. And then he went. I'm just like, it was like one of those moments of just like joy, because now you can take the pitcher that you want, and just like, oh fuck, I could have had him. Kind of like, it was just one of those bittersweet kind of moments. You're just like, oh, okay, whatever. Like you got
Yeah.
over it, but you're just like, oh man, because you're right. He gets that jump, and you're just like, oh fuck. So
I mean, look, his first 2 years of college, he stole 16 and 17 bases and got caught 3 times in 2 seasons.
yeah.
I mean, this guy's he's just going to light the bases on fire. A little worried about his up and down averages in college, but
yes, that is the one concern that I had with him. You're right, is that average. Ooh, but why? But he is, because
I
you
know
look
it
at the
doesn't
rest of his vitals, and you're like, how does that fucking happen?
Yeah,
And then
I have
you
no
worry
idea.
about getting moguled.
Right, because I mean, look, you would think with a guy whose average would drop like that his Ks would go up, but his average dropped and his fucking Ks dropped. You know,
it was a weird fucking thing. So, but you're right. You're like, you're a little bit like, ooh, there's something there that everything screams yes, but then there's something there that says, don't count the chickens just yet. But let's be fair, it's a lot of us have been taking those speed guys lately. Sometimes they pan out, and sometimes you're just sitting there like, why do you hate me, Mogul? Why do you fucking hate me?
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I might know that better than others. All right, next pick was Chris Thompson, a 22-year-old pitcher out of the great state of Seattle. Oh, I didn't even realize that. That's cute. He's from Seattle, and he stayed in Seattle. That's just great.
Oh.
And he already has a player option here for 2 years. What the fuck? He's one of those. Oh, that is just so. I didn't even notice that either. Fuck me. All right. Anyway, Chris Thompson, I'll let you talk about how you hate him.
Well, I mean, I don't hate him per se. I'm never a huge fan when the power is above the control. It's just personal. He looks to, I mean,
I'll bash him for you.
He looks to have decent vitals. I mean, he looks like he's going to be all right. But with the 84 peak at 22, like, I don't see him ever hitting your rotation.
He is one of those guys that is like a GD special. Like GD just loves these guys, the high power, solid control. So like, yeah, there are some concerns. The home runs are a concern. The strikeout to walk ratio is not a concern. The OBA is a little bit of a concern, but not much. But you again, another one of those guys, as you've been talking. Look at 16 home runs. He still had a 3.4 ERA. 18 the year before, he had a 3.08. Like, something weird is going on there, and it might just be me being like, oh, it's my guy, so I'm going to like him because there are issues. He is 22. He is only an 84 overall, 84 peak, not an overall. But high power, controls over, movement should catch up. It's just behind. But all 3 of his pitches are also above his overall, not far above, but they're all above.
Right.
So he was one of those guys that after all the other guys I really, really wanted were gone, he was like at the bottom of that tier of guys that I really liked. So I was very happy to grab him. But you're right, there are some issues that are there that could spell absolute doom with him at this pick.
It could.
But just like everybody else, though, we'll kind of see as it goes on. Next, Milwaukee took an 18-year-old left-handed first baseman.
Yeah, he's your typical 84 peak guy that you're just hoping he gets the jump that you need him to get. You know what I mean? That's. I mean, there's nothing that screams that he's going to be horrible, but he's just that guy that you hope gets the jump, just like every other 84 peak guy you pick.
You're absolutely right. He gets the jump. He becomes the guy. Everybody's like, oh,
Yeah.
How did I missed
I
him.
miss
What the fuck just happened to him?
that guy.
Or he dies and everybody's just like, fuck
Yeah, I
you.
told you not to pick him at
Right.
25.
Yeah, exactly. And again, as we talked about earlier, how's this fucking run on pitchers went? Like
Yeah,
you have to start taking guys like that, otherwise somebody else will. And when there's not a lot of bats out there scream like, yeah, you should take this bat instead. You take your chance on the 84 peak guy.
right.
So next guy is an 86 peak guy, left-handed first baseman Mark Grafton. Another one of those guys that I was not a fan of. Low contact, low eye, eyes above the overall sure, but it's way below the power. And then that speed is right there, almost at power level. That's again talked about this earlier. This is not a build I like. I'm not a fan of it. I for whatever reason I don't think it works.
I don't mind him. Again, he's the, you know, gonna hit righties. Probably gonna crack you 25 home runs. Decent eye, you know what I mean? So he's not gonna be your power strikeout guy. But at the same time, like nothing huge, nothing special. Just gonna plop him in at first base. Depending on where that lefties go, you may have to platoon him because I mean he is 18 and that is his saving grace. He's 18. But I'm looking at him right now, lefties hitting 49 against fucking lefties, and I'm already thinking like you're gonna have to platoon a guy at right with him or at
Yeah,
first base.
or
But
DH.
yeah, or DH, yeah. But I mean, he looks to set up because he's lefty. He looks to set up to be a nice guy you can plug in there. Glove works at 67, which is hit or miss with first baseman. You know, it could completely not affect him at all, which Mogul does with first baseman. Like the guy I got from you at first, his glove looks terrible, and he wins a fucking Gold Glove the first year I put him in. So I mean, he could be that where it doesn't matter. He could be a guy that's going to rack up errors for you at first base. With what was left on the board, not a bad pick with what was left on the board, but also not someone who's going to, you know, everybody's going to be talking about for the Hall of Fame. He's going to be
Right.
a solid guy you just plug in there. And if the defense is fine and Mogul doesn't fuck with him, and he's gonna be a good first baseman, you just plug in there and let him go.
Yep. No, I don't disagree. And this brings us to the next pick, the second of the first round picks that GB got for Naida, and another auto that he is probably not happy to have this time, and that is
Okay.
Jose Navarez. I know. I please hold your applause.
Poor
Again,
bastard.
I know. Power Eye. Again, Power Eye. It's what you want to see. The Power Eye is what you want to see. He calls himself a third baseman. I would disagree slightly. He might, well, you know, you click on the field, you look at it, he might actually be okay at third base. Not
Yeah,
a
he's
guy
not
I would
horrible.
necessarily want there,
No.
but he could probably play there and not be a total, total failure.
Yeah.
But that 54 contact as a right-handed hitter at 20 years old, um, you're just, ugh, I don't like it. His health is low too, and maybe that doesn't make as much difference for batters, or even pitchers for that matter for some people. But he just seems like a guy that might get injured a lot and just like gonna want to hit a home run and just have long fly balls instead if he can even make contact.
Right. I mean, if you look, okay, so if you actually go to his minors stats and you look at his 2 years in college, that's the guy you're getting who's going to hit you more home runs once he peaks out. You know what I mean? Like you're getting a
But
guy who's
he's gonna hit
11.
right around the Mendoza line.
Right. He's going to hit 211 for you. He's going to probably belt you. I mean, if he reminds me of Shaw a lot, who has no fucking contact at all, but he has but he still belts you 35 home runs. But he hits 200, and that's like if he hits 225, you're like, fuck yeah, this guy had a great fucking season. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
that's what you're getting there.
And this could be another one of those midnight trade specials. You wait for him to get a jump or something where he looks a little bit better than what he does now, and you dump him on some poor sap, and
Yeah.
just thank God that you had the chance to do so.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is let's run the train on Samuel Train, 22-year-old left-handed pitcher out of Cambridge, Mass. Just turned 22 last month. Another one of those high control movement, not too far behind guys. A good fastball, circle change isn't too far back, and kind of a shit splitter. But is there issues? Doesn't seem to have a home run problem. Seems to strike out more than he walks. But that last year in college, that OBA, ooh,
Wow.
351. How the fuck does that happen? But you look,
Yeah.
his ERA is not too bad even with that, and his dice is even better than his ERA. So something funky going on there. Now again,
Yeah.
I have no problem with Train. I kind of liked him. He was on my initial list. I did eventually strike him off of it. Um, but I don't think he's a bad pick. I just a little bit of concern for as much as some of them are giving me crap in chat for Chris Thompson being terrible. I think it's funny that Jermaine's giving me crap for Chris Thompson being terrible, considering he took basically the same pitcher in Whitcomb last year, a little bit younger, but basically the same pitcher. And 10 seconds until I start seeing angry messages about that. But fuck it. He's 22 and he's got, so according to Maddie's calculator, which some people I listen.
What the fuck was with that link? Because I tried to download that thing. Everybody else is talking about it in chat. I have a blank fucking screen staring.
No, not that. No, not that one. No, that. I'll walk.
Because then I go to it brings me up a Dropbox and it says I have to sign in. I'm like, God damn! Everybody else is getting this fucking calculator, and I'm like,
that's not that calculator. No. Calculator was a pain in the ass. I finally figured out how to do that. It was a pain in the ass. No. His actual draft sheet calculator is going to say that this guy has about 8 peak left, not the 13 that you see. It's going to have about 7 or 8 peak left. So that becomes a concern. You got a 22-year-old pitcher with really 7 upside left. You get a little bit worried about that. And again, we've seen a lot of pitchers lately peak out much older than what we would hope for in that 24 to 26 range. Some of them are going to wait until 27, 28 to kind of peak out, which is great for RB, but it's kind of a bitch to kind of watch them slowly develop. But this guy could end up in the back of the rotation. I think no more than a 4 or 5 guy, honestly, or somewhere in the bullpen. Not a bad pick. But again, as all the pitchers go, you take what you can get.
I just look at this guy and I don't see why. I mean, he's got a 4.68 and a 4.13 ERA. Granted, it's minor, so it's probably like just randomly fucking generated in Mogul, but the vitals don't match with the fucking what he's saying he's doing. You know what I mean? Everything looks good on this guy. Vitals wise, I mean, he doesn't have power. His power's low. Maybe Mogul puts that in for something, but I don't know. I mean, he looks good. I mean, I think
do you know who he looks like? If you want my honest opinion, if you look on my roster and you look at Velazquez, that's who he looks like.
Okay.
He looks like a guy that can get to 90 control. He's gonna have like a mid-range power.
Guy you have is your 6th starter.
Yeah, that guy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's who he looks like. He looks identical to that. And if you look back and you look at his stats in the high school era too, they're similar. He actually had less home runs given up and a couple less issues, but he had that 305 OBA the one year. Like, it's similar. It's similar enough. So I think that's who you're looking at best. A guy that you could put in your 5 starter and be okay with if you have good 4 stars of form, or a guy that just bounces around depending on where your injuries are at. So, all right, Detroit's, I believe this was another auto pick for him. Matt Hayes, a right fielder.
Wow. Dude, he got fucked. He had so many fucking first-round picks.
Listen. Kids, don't drink and take drugs.
Yeah.
And at least not at the same time.
Not a good combination.
Yeah, listen, when you're drinking rum and cokes and popping Xannies, it's just not going to go well. You're going to stroke out on Discord, and then you're going to get 3 shitty picks.
Combination.
Well,
ever.
Yeah. No. So kids,
Maybe your kids, but other than that, no.
oh, kids,
Oh, did I
kids.
go there? I did.
Let's listen to your Pittsburgh uncles. Don't do drugs and drink. It's bad. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So now again, let's actually look at him instead of just bashing for the shits and giggles of it. His minor stats for those who look at that shit is BANANAS. Like, holy shit, that ops is off the chart. The slugging's out of this world. Everything is just like,
Yeah.
how the fuck? But
You know who he reminds me of as just as a pure auto pick, because the same thing happened to me one year. Not that I was doing drugs and drinking and having kids, but I think I slept in, or I had to take a shit. One or the other. Is Blakely. That's who this guy reminds me of. He's going to be. I think he'll be a great DH.
Yeah, no defense, has to be a DH. You look at the stats and you're just like, yes. You look at the vitals, you're like, yes. You look at the age, you're like, oh my god. But then you're like, he's not going to really hit righties that well. And you're just worried about when you see all three vitals like that close together. It's just, for me, that has always been a concern. Just because it was a while back, I took a guy. I didn't draft him. I traded for him because I don't draft guys. I trade for him. That had something similar. He had that that contact power eye, like all similar. I'm like, oh man, this guy's gonna be like an 88, 88, 88, or like a 90, 90, 90. Like, he's gonna fucking kill it. And he did get to like 86, 86, 88 or something like that. It was just fucking piss terrible. He was an outfielder. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was just terrible. I tried him for 2 years and then just fucking threw him to the garbage. Like, I don't think Hayes is going to quite get that way. I mean, his his minor numbers are quite good, and he's walking more than he's striking out. So I think he might end up the best of the three bunch there that he got autoed. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how he develops. Now, Arizona took a 16-year-old left fielder with the next pick. I believe left field was the one outfield. I did not like any of them, so I literally left them off my scouting book. And this guy is an interesting guy. 16, I think, is the biggest thing here. He's 16. His defense he's got an arm, so you might want to try him in right field. But he looks like he's going to be much better in left, as most of these guys end up doing. Eye looks good. Power looks good. Contact looks okay. Minor league numbers look like shit, but he's 16, so we don't really care as much about that. And here's the one thing that he does have going for him. If you look at his contact and his power versus righties, it almost looks like a switch hitters because there's only one below its overall. So if it can stick to that, you might actually have a very good outfielder on your hands. A guy that's going to have a good eye and then have power and contact that are quite good. Not top notch, but maybe like low 80, mid 80s. He could end up being a very nice outfielder if you were able to wait the 8-10 seasons it's going to take for him to develop.
Yeah, no, he's nice. I think like you said, offensive wise, I think he's good, especially being fucking 16. These vitals already. I think he's going to be fucking phenomenal. Offensive wise. Defensive wise, it's gonna be like throwing Gregory, or it's gonna be like throwing Polanco in left field if you put him in left field.
Yeah, probably, and which is, for those of you who don't follow Pirates, it's not a good idea.
You know what I mean? But offensively, I think this dude's gonna be a fucking stud offensively.
Yeah, I think he has that chance. And again, especially at 16,
especially because he's 16.
He's 16. Winter ball him.
Yeah,
he's 16. Fucking winter ball him this year. See what you can get out of him, and just let him slowly develop. He's a guy that, being that young, being a guy that doesn't have the highest peak, he's a guy that certain GMs are going to come at you for and try to get on the cheap, and they're going to let him sit in their minors and just rack up experience points. So for Ren, if you're listening, don't let Pete trade for him. Just throw that out there.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the end of the first round, and let's finish up with the comp pick. Comp pick, Lee Page, another left-handed pitcher, 18 years old, coming out of the great state of California, San Diego to be specific. Another one of those 84 peak pitchers. Good fastball, good two-seamer, changeup, it's not too far behind. Again, another high power, high control, solid movement kind of guy.
I don't. Man, I may be totally wrong, but I don't think his movement's going to go to where he wanted to. I mean, he has a nice fastball. Looks like the two-seamer is going to ride up there pretty good. You know, I mean, I think he'll have a decent two-seamer. I don't think you're gonna get screwed on the two-seamer. I don't know. I just don't. I don't know. He may come across yeah, I guess he is kind of. He may be a control movement guy. I mean, that it doesn't look like. I mean, it looks like what you're looking at there. You'll probably get a couple more ticks on the power. And he's 18, so that's your upside there on him.
Yeah,
if he was another one of these 2-year-old guys that you fucking drafted, I
drafted one. Calm down. But listen, 18, 32 upside. There's enough to like there. That you take the shot. So he's not as well liked as some of the another pitcher I took a little bit later that everybody's been talking about. But oh god, I took all power pitchers, didn't I? I took all left-handed power pitchers.
That's all you fucking do. That's all you do. Left-handed power. Like that's literally like who's in the draft.
I just realized that Josh Wheeler, the third guy I took, was also a pitcher. Oh, that's fucking gonna go great or terribly. We'll see.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm gonna read some notes. I'm gonna read some notes from the crowds. Dave thinks he'll be a power move guy. Percy, favorite second round picks: Page, Olson, Turbe, Towns, Winston, and Wade. I think I'll give Percy a couple on that. Winston was a guy that I was a big fan of as well, and thought he was about to slip to me and got really excited, and then I just missed out on him by about 6 picks, but or a little bit more. But Winston's a guy that went to KC. Obviously, if Andy's taking him, we should probably talk about it because he's probably going to be pretty good. And I like that build. I think Percy's right. I think Winston has a chance to be a creepy good pitcher that nobody was really necessarily watching. And then all of a sudden, Andy took him. Everybody's like, "Oh fuck, how did I miss him?" And I think that could be that guy. But we'll see. Dave also likes Wade and Towns. Towns was a guy that I had on my list, but I wasn't hot to take because there was something about him that I was a little. Where did he go? He went toward the. I don't even see him. Did he go higher than I thought? No. Do you see Towns, Dan?
Let me check. I went back to look at the chat because I hadn't been looking at the chat at all.
I've been peeking here and there. Oh, there he is. 3rd round pick. 3rd round, 8th overall. Andy Towns. Yeah, he's a guy that reminds me of my guy Andy Talley. Looks like a high power eye guy with that high arm, high fielding, medium range defense kind of build. Yeah, I liked it. He was on my list. He was one of 2 third basemen I liked on my list, and he actually went. There's another one that went right before I picked. I wasn't going to take him. He wasn't my target, but
Andy's 19, so he's got some potential movement there.
Yeah, no, I think Towns was a good pick, especially in that part of the draft. Towns equals Tally. Are you blind? No, Jermaine. I'm tired and stupid and not giving a fuck. There's quite a big difference. MC should have taken my offer on Zunga. No, I shouldn't have, but that's a nice try.
2.18. Not sure what that means.
Percy,
is he talking about Towns or is he talking about a pitcher and that's his ERA?
I don't. Maybe they count different in West Virginia than I remember.
Pick 18, maybe that's what that means. Not quite sure.
Maybe they do different math. I don't know. I think they do different math in West Virginia than we're used to here in the civilized world.
See, I decoded it.
You decoded it, but it's not.
I did. Piercy's from West Virginia.
Isn't he?
I don't know. I don't even know what anybody's name is. How the fuck am I going to know where they're from?
Okay,
Took me 5 seasons to figure out what teams everybody. I'm so glad they put it in parentheses now, or I'd never know that.
Here, let's go from the top. So Rendrick's name is Ross. Fred's name is Fred. GB's name is Matt. Hockey's name is Hockey. Jermaine is Jermaine. Marty is Matt. Mid is Dave. I'm Mike. You're Dan twice. Stang is Stang. He likes laps. I think SX is Scott and Theo is Theo. So there you go. Let's see here. Jermaine lives in New York. Marty lives over in Ohio. I think a bunch of them are from Illinois. And I'm positive Percy lives right below us in West Virginia. Well, Stang's in Atlanta. So, say yes, West Virginia. There you go.
Ah, you poor bastard.
It's wild and wonderful down there.
It is. It is. Nothing like loving like marrying your cousin. West Virginia.
Listen, where else can you go? Where else can for your wedding registry you can register for meth?
I'm wondering. I'm hoping, like, is he in one of the massive metropolitan areas of West Virginia, or is he in the fucking back hills? Because
I'm pretty sure you just had
a whole different fucking thing if he's from the hills.
I'm pretty sure that's an oxymoron. A metropolitan area in West Virginia.
Yeah, did you pick that up? I'm glad you did.
I did pick that up. I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
I mean, because if he's from the hills, I'm wondering if he has shoes on and drinking out of a fucking clay jug still.
God, I hope so. That'd be awesome.
I do too. His grandfather was probably making moonshine up in the fucking mountains. It's probably how his family got the money. Yeah, now his grandfather died. He didn't pass it on to everybody. You know what I mean? So they're living out of a trailer park and have 3 busted down pickup trucks.
Let's be fair. His grandfather probably buried it somewhere in the holler, and they're still to this day trying to dig it up and find it.
Like, you can't even get to his house on a GPS because it's just a dirt fucking circle where all the trailers are parked.
No, his internet is actually old school dial-up that he stole from the high school that went out of business like 30 years ago.
That his dad like wired up so they didn't have to pay for a phone bill, so he just fucking ran a wire.
Yeah, if you actually go down there, you follow a cord for like 20 miles and finally get to his house, which is more like a shack in the woods, but he calls it a house.
Yeah. Still searching for Bigfoot.
Oh man, he's down there. If he's anywhere, he's in Virginia. Wild and wonderful.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Well, that is our draft recap. Daniel, do you want to discuss anything else briefly before I fall asleep?
No, there's nothing I could think of off the top of my head.
That's good because I kind of want to fall asleep.
Yeah.
I've got a long day of literally wall-to-wall fucking meetings tomorrow. It's going to be miserable. All right, everybody. Well, that is it for us. We are going to sign off. I am sorry that you had to listen to us, but you chose to, so it's fucking on you. Good night.
Yep.